WrestleZone.com, joined by Robert DeFelice to talk about Friday Night SmackDown and a whole bunch of other stuff. Because Robert, it's been a day, a week, a month,
It's been a week.
a time. Who even knows?
It's been a
It's a
week,
crazy
Colin.
time.
It's
My
been quite the
goodness.
week.
We woke up this morning to the news of Vince McMahon will be stepping back from his duties as WWE CEO after the news of the investigation involving him. I'm not going to comment too much on that because that's very complicated. We'll talk about what can act like the stuff that's like, very neutral ground here. He's stepping back. We'll talk about that in a bit. That happened this morning. The reports about Sasha Banks getting released, maybe not. Nobody even knows what's going on. Brock Lesnar came back, capped it off. The very end of SmackDown. Then right after the show, that's why we're running a little late tonight. They announced that Brock Lesnar will challenge Roman Reigns for the Universal title, for undisputed title, whatever the hell.
Undisputed Universal title.
Oh my goodness gracious! What a time! What a time! Outside of that, Robert, how are you doing? Outside of all this craziness,
I mean, I'm doing about as well as one can do, but this craziness has dominated the news cycle, which means it's dominated most of our worlds.
Yeah, that it has. I was telling Robert before we went on the air. I literally woke up, got about this morning. I saw the Vince McMahon thing, and I hadn't even had coffee yet, and I wrote it up because that is a big crazy story, and we've been going pretty nonstop ever since. Because it's that kind of day, the wrestling news world never stops. Hello, Nesha. Hope you're doing well. It is indeed a crazy time. I don't even know where to begin, Robert. So we had the Vince McMahon thing.
I know where to begin. Let's begin at the beginning.
Yeah. All right.
Let's begin at the opening of the show where Vince McMahon, as Mr. McMahon, amid all the controversies, comes out, walks to the ring, getting mostly cheered. I heard from somebody who was in the arena, mostly really cheered. And so that wasn't like piped in crowd noise or anything. And he says, I'm here to talk to you about the 4 words in our signature. Then, now, forever, together. And the most important word of that is together.
Yep.
Welcome to SmackDown. Shake some hands, crowd cheers, and we're off.
That was it. Yeah, obviously, again, I don't want to talk too much about the allegations and stuff. That's a very, very sensitive thing. In a nutshell, not great, to say the least. Does not look good. Yeah, for whatever, we don't know how much of it's true. I don't. Again, that's very, 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 unstable ground there. But if you haven't read it already, we covered it here. Obviously, you can find it literally anywhere. The Wall Street Journal reported he's under investigation for. I reported "quote unquote" hush pact with an ex-employee that he allegedly had an affair with. That much seems safe to say because that's out there. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation. Then this morning, as I noted earlier, they announced Vince voluntarily stepping back as chairman and CEO. Stephanie McMahon filling in for him, who had just taken a leave of absence.
Stephanie McMahon, who was just taking a leave of absence 3 weeks ago, who was just, for all intents and purposes, let's call a spade here, kind of trashed in the Business Journal and kind of, slammed for her job performance, is now in the optic, in the sense of optics in the public eye, the number 1 person in WWE.
It's crazy. Obviously, as Shaq saying that she left because of the scandal. I mean, as part of the board of directors, that she would have known that the investigation was happening. I think it started in, I believe, early April, if I remember correctly. This was not just this week. This has been kind of in the works for a little bit now. So there is that timeline to consider that that may have been part of it. And now that it's out, and Vince decided to step back. Again, she took a step back, and now she has to fill in. Now, there have been reports. Sean Ross Sapp over at Fightful Select reported that a lot of talent is basically feeling like nothing will really change because Vince is still there. He's still in charge of the creative. We can't sing oh, everything's going to get better now. No, Vince McMahon's still in charge of creative. He's still there. So essentially, so I myself, at least, I haven't viewed this. It's crazy. It's a crazy story. It's it's substantial. But I'm not someone that's oh my goodness, everything's gonna change. Wow, who even knows? I've been kind of from the start, unless he actually leaves, it feels like this is.
I'm of the opinion that we're gonna just take a look at how this actually plays out. We know he's gonna be doing the creative still.
Yeah.
But they have at least painted the picture for a public WWE without Vince McMahon.
And it's interesting, Sean, in that one report had said that basically, and we've even seen this, if you see the company earnings calls, Vince hasn't said as much. He's been like kind of less involved in a lot of ways. And it kind of just, compared to the past, obviously, which makes sense. He's built up this team to kind of carry WWE forward as he's still been involved, but just maybe in lesser ways to some extent. So this isn't maybe on paper, it seems like, oh, Vince is stepping back as this huge, crazy thing. When in reality, it's like, yeah, it's a big deal. But, it's not like he was 100% doing everything to now he has to step back. Like this has been kind of, But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. We will have to see what happens. The investigation's ongoing. I don't know how long it's gonna take to unfold. I mean, it seems pretty substantial and extensive. John Laurinaitis, the head of talent relations, was also named among some of the claims of misconduct. So his role in that and any consequences regarding him are also to be seen. That was crazy. Again, that was Wednesday. Then we had the announcement today that Vince was stepping back. So yes, then very shortly after that, they announced that Vince was appearing on SmackDown. Then Mr. McMahon.
One-sentence press release.
One-sentence press release.
My favorite thing of the day. Mr. McMahon will appear on SmackDown. That was covered on CNN, by the way.
Yeah.
And whomever the anchor was at the time, when he was told Vince will be appearing on SmackDown, says, "Oh, of course he will," because
that's what he does.
It's unfortunately a lot of pro wrestling's a joke to mainstream media, but it is what it is.
So they announced that, and then I think it was CNBC reported that Vince McMahon will be appearing in character, and that led a lot of people to wonder, like, what's he gonna do? Robert, this morning you had joked, like, what if they replicate the angle where he faked his death or something because he can't investigate a dead guy? I was like, that'd be the craziest thing. Can you imagine?
Now, Bruce Pritchard on his podcast says that the reason McMahon was killed off in 2007 didn't last but a week. But the reason he was killed off in 2007 is because he said, "I can't be on TV if I'm dead." Now, who knows what this could have been? They went with the bare minimum of
absolute bare.
Hey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you know what's happening. We'll be together forever kind of thing. But they could have done anything.
Yeah. And as you mentioned a minute ago, he said it's a privilege to be in front of the fans in Minneapolis or in Minnesota for the cheap pop. Then he cited the opening tagline for the opening video package, "Together Forever," all that good stuff. Welcome to SmackDown, and he left. Did I expect him to comment on the ongoing investigation? Not necessarily. Did I?
Not once they said Mr. McMahon was going to appear.
I all right, fine. Like, that's fair. I thought something. And this, and as you said, you cited a person who was there at the arena that he actually was getting cheered. I had seen some people on Twitter thinking that those may have been piped in, but it did seem like an actual, a genuine reception for him. And it makes sense, right? It's Vince McMahon. It's still a WWE crowd. Like, it's not like he's out there in front of a public mob. Like, it's a WWE show. So I don't know. I was underwhelmed for one because it was so insubstantial that he was just saying, again, together forever, all that good stuff. That was it. I would not necessarily expect to see him again until the investigation's over. Seems like a safe
maybe WrestleMania.
If it goes that long.
Again, maybe.
We have no idea how long this is going to go. Again, it is a very, very substantial investigation, and it could take some time. And there are legal ramifications, all that stuff. DJ and others have said that DJ says he thought Vince would say goodbye to the universe. I think that was a valid prediction. Nesha thought Vince would come out and put Stephanie in charge, even in character. I would add, like, that there'd be something there.
Yeah, I thought I could have seen that coming.
Nope. This was 2-3 minutes long. That was it, including the entrance. Like, if I'm actually talking, it was like 1 minute. But regardless, maybe we should have tempered expectations. I don't know what exactly I was expecting, just given everything that we're just talking about, all this stuff going on. Then hours later, he's on SmackDown, just expecting something. And Nesha says it was disappointing. Yes. It's crazy, man. Like I said, I myself am like, I'm not thinking anything's really going to change, but you can't deny it's a huge story, especially for us. We're in it or in the thick of it, trying to covering this stuff, doing it, day in day out. DJ, it wasn't a superstar. There was someone that worked in the company. One journalist out there, one person named who the individual was. I'm not going to do that or even say who did it because that's not a good thing to do. Because you shouldn't name people in matters like this that are initially revealed to be anonymous. Like, it's a pretty common sense thing that you don't name them. So it was not a superstar. It was a former employee on the corporate side of things, on the non-wrestling side. So leave it at that. But that's the tip of the iceberg, Robert. Okay, we had the Vince McMahon thing, Vince McMahon on SmackDown. Now we'll circle back Wednesday. We had the Vince investigation broke on Wednesday, and then it was, I think, it's either right at the end of Dynamite, maybe right afterwards. It was like a fairly late Wednesday night. The news reportedly that Sasha Banks got released, and that has still not been confirmed. Everyone has been confused ever since because it's not officially been confirmed. Not even, Fightful has not officially confirmed it. There have been other confirmations. There's been word that talent, has heard that or believes that. Still not officially confirmed. So, it's all but confirmed that Sasha Banks has been released in light of walking out, all this stuff, being suspended indefinitely, stripped for the tag titles. We talked about that before on this show. But at this juncture, it seems like Sasha Banks has been released. We still can't confirm it. Again, I was telling Robert or before we were on the air, we have still not published that article on our website because it has not been confirmed yet. So we hesitate to do anything like that when it before it's official for lack of a better word. And it's out there, and it seems to be the case. I do hope we'll get some actual confirmation soon. Shaq texted some officials and sources confirmed it, but again, it still seems like very sketchy or again not officially confirmed yet. Like many other releases, those are confirmed and easy, one and done. Okay, it's official. But it's not it still remains kind of to be seen. Again, I hope they confirm it soon. But regardless, let's operate with the assumption that she has been released. Let's say if that does happen, Robert, what would your reaction be?
I'm terrible. Sasha, for whatever reason, is not treated like the needle mover of a Roman Reigns, but Sasha is on that level. She is, she's in movies and TV shows and doing the Kevin Hart show and on Hot Ones, which, by the way, that's what got her the Mandalorian, not WWE. It was outside WWE because WWE is a niche product, whether we like it or not. Sasha's so great, and I think to lose her is a slight on the company. It's not like, oh, well, she's missing out because she's not a part of WWE. She did it all. If she leaves, okay, by her, she's main evented Mania. She's done Hell in a Cell and all these things that women never did. So it would be a shame to lose Sasha Banks.
Yeah. DJ says she has money at the company, huge loss, no doubt about that. Shaq says that he was saying that he saw people backing up their report. Yeah, I'm not, and there's nothing to do with say sorry. There have been other people backing it up, or otherwise reporting it, kind of saying that they've heard this as well. Even again, Strongest Habit Fightful said he had heard that was what was going around or something to that effect. But again, I just say it's still not been officially confirmed by anybody yet. By Sasha Banks, obviously, by WWE, by Fightful, anybody, and Fightful obviously being very, very reputable. Not to say that other sources aren't, but I'm just saying that they are probably one of the.
Fightful's great. I think we can all agree on
that. That's all I mean. That it's just it seems it's still so sketchy because no one's actually confirmed it. It's it feels like it's mostly confirmed. It's just very complicated. And again, I do hope we'll get clarification.
I'll address this one because nothing has been said about Naomi.
Yeah, they had announced, or no, not announced. So they briefly removed her profile from the website and then put it back, whatever that means. But otherwise, nothing about Naomi. No word has gotten out there at all. And I've only, admittedly, kind of assumed to some degree, maybe her obviously she's married to Jimmy Uso, so there may be something there. that she may want to stay. I don't know. We never know. We never know why people do what they do. She could leave. She's great. She could exceed anywhere else, obviously. But this has been weird because this story has been all about Sasha Banks. Nothing about Naomi, even though she and Sasha Banks walked out. She and Sasha Banks got suspended. So we have even less to say about Naomi because that's even more in the dark. So, but as for Sasha Banks, like, again, if we're operating the assumption that she will get released, what it maybe has, who even knows, big loss. At the very least, no doubt that she is a big star, but one of the more established stars they have. You talk about the crossover appeal that they have failed to capitalize on. Again, I don't think they ever plugged the fact that she was on The Mandalorian, or if they did, it was very.
It just hasn't been as much as I think it could have been, and arguably should have been.
And we got one comment that Benjamin A. Jones saying she was a tag team champion. Vince doesn't care about tag teams. She's a single star that was put in tag team and made a tag team champion. I think in an attempt to elevate those titles. I think they, like probably many others, they know she's a star, but maybe they just don't quite value her in the same way as others. Admit to a fault. I think that's wrong. I think they know that she's
weird. They do this thing where they're like, well, they're homegrown, right? So that means you're not as big of a star as Ronda, who isn't homegrown. And because it's always about getting the outside eyes. And I get that to an extent, but when the person that you built goes outside and becomes like a John Cena, for example, then it becomes important to promote that person. You should promote them beforehand. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's all there is to it, and I feel like they never really did that. Never says Sasha will be a loss, but she chose to quit. I mean, this has been a very divisive issue where Sasha and Naomi walked out, and when they did, it was very unclear how this would unfold. That was literally a month ago yesterday, May 16th, that they walked out on Raw, and it took until Wednesday, which is, I guess literally just under a month, to have really any substantial movement other than the fact they got suspended. Quitting, I mean, that's subjective. Like I myself, I guess I see from both sides. Like, yes, she chose to walk out, but she had valid complaints, and that's she takes walking out as quitting. I think that's fair. Even if they quit the company quite literally, it was at least quitting that day or whatever. Valid frustrations regardless, valid issues regardless. It's yet again, this, like the Vince thing, it's complicated. I don't think there's a right or a wrong. I think WWE has been wrong in the sense that they have misused her and misutilized the potential that she has to be this big star. But again, I still hesitate to really say she is leaving, because it's still not really confirmed, and it's still kind of up in the air, even though it feels all but confirmed in that sense. Might as well bring up another departure, at least briefly, because Robert, I forgot about this in the midst of everything. I think this was maybe last Friday, so it wasn't quite this week, but still, Paige is also leaving. Paige, the former Divas champion, also leaving. Her contract will be up July 7th, so that's only a couple weeks away. She was forced to retire from neck injuries. She's been an ambassador. She hasn't really appeared as much lately, but there's no denying her legacy either. She has said that she hopes to return to the ring at some point. That remains to be seen. Obviously, wish her well, and
I'm sure she'll be back in the ring. She seems pretty determined to do it, so I'm sure something will happen.
And we've talked about this before with Edge, Daniel Bryan, Christian Cage, any number of people. I guess those are the big three that have returned from big injuries, the substantial career-ending injuries. They've come back and have thrived in a lot of ways. So there is definitely a fair kind of connection of that could happen for Paige potentially. I'm sure she'll find success no matter what she does. Fans love her. She's great, whatever she does. Now, says Paige is young. I mean, she's only, I think she's 29, I believe. She's still very young. It's crazy to think of how young she was when she got to WWE and started succeeding. So I'm sure that she has a very bright future. No matter what she does. I guess Paige had a Twitch stream that she wanted to stay, but WWE wouldn't clear her, and then she only had kind of a limited utility in what she could do without wrestling, without being cleared to wrestle. So they decided to let her go because, again, she had retired in 2018, so it's been a couple years now. So that's what's the Paige. But point is, I forgot about that because it's been so crazy this week, and Paige thing itself was a big story. Boy. But let's talk about SmackDown a little bit, because we do have some stuff to get through, including the big main event. But at least for some, there was some skippable stuff. But for some substantial stuff, Riddle had a promo right after the Vince thing where I missed this myself, admittedly, and that's exactly what he said. But
he threw it to a video package, and then said, "I'm gonna win, and Randy's gonna be watching, and Randy's gonna have surgery soon, but I'm gonna win the belt, bro." Essentially.
Yeah. I was watching. I was writing up the Vince thing. I missed what exactly he said, and I saw people on Twitter saying, "Oh, he just confirmed Randy's having surgery." So I missed that part specifically. But he did say that Randy is having surgery. That had been reported by Sean Ross Fight Select. Sean tweeted, reported there was the concern that Randy would have to have surgery. Riddle said that Randy will have to have surgery, or will be having surgery soon. Kept it vague, so we don't exactly know what that would mean. Sean Rossap's report had said that the fear was that Randy would be out for the rest of the year, which would obviously affect general plans. There's some reports that Randy was the reported opponent for SummerSlam. Whether or not that's the case, Randy obviously is a big player. He was with RK Bro. You would have to imagine, even just it feels pretty obvious, that he would face Roman at some point. Now, if he's out for the rest of the year, potentially, that is a big shake up in terms of just like one big player that will not have the ability to utilize. But an emotional promo from Riddle. DJ says, poured his heart out. Best promo he's ever done. I thought it was fine. Like, you know, he says this kind of stuff a lot, where he's like, "I love Randy." It's a lot lately, where he's like, "I love Randy." This promo, like, it just kind of clicked for me. I'm like, it's so crazy in a lot of ways. Like, WWE, especially with this promo, like, this was their last attempt to really sell us that, like, Riddle, hey guys, like, Riddle could be the guy that beats Roman Reigns after like 687 days or whatever the hell it is of being the Universal Champion, the guy that beat Brock Lesnar, the guy that beat John Cena, the guy that beat Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens several times, all these people. The Riddle could be that guy. That's this Riddle, like Randy and the 420 jokes and all this stuff. Like, Riddle is great in the ring. He's been incredible, especially lately. I'm not denying that at all. You can have these amazing matches, but to take him seriously and to say, like, oh, he could be that guy, I didn't buy it at all. And I saw some people saying, oh, they might do this, shock title change just because everyone's going to be watching SmackDown tonight because Vince will be on. Or I saw some people kind of suggesting that. I'm sorry. Okay, it was a very good match. We might as well talk about it now. It's a very good match. Riddle's great in the ring. I think he's very talented. I've said I've been consistent from the start. I've not really enjoyed this character. There's some weeks where I laugh along and it works for me, but sometimes like the Randy, it's just like, oh my gosh! Like, especially now that he's in the main event scene, or at least he in the lead up to this, and now he was facing Roman Reigns. Like, I don't know, man. I don't buy it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone bought it.
And that's just what you expected Riddle to win. I saw plenty of people where I actually thought there was at least a chance. And some people actually thought that Riddle might win. And I didn't see that myself. Shock Attack says he really thought Riddle was going to pull it off. It was a good match. I definitely agree. It was a good match. It was a good main event. This was the first time we've seen Roman Reigns since, I think, the Bloodline beat down RK Bro. So that's been almost a month now. So good to have Roman Reigns back. He's been missed. It's crappy not having him on the show all the time anymore because the show's not so great without him. At least it's lesser without him. DJ, I was expecting something. Admittedly, I'm overly skeptical sometimes. Okay, when they had the very over-the-top Riddle promo where it was like, I love Randy. Randy's gonna get surgery. All this stuff. There's a little part of me that was like, are they gonna have Randy attack him? Is this all like? I hate to say this is a work, but like, are they kind of like stringing us along or something and have they got Randy attack him? I thought, or even the Usos or something. No, clean as a whistle. Roman beat him.
Clean as a whistle. Yeah.
And then this was the first time Roman defended the title on TV / any televised programming since he unified the title at SummerSlam. This was his first televised defense, so it was substantial in that way. Robert, what do you think of the match? And then we can talk about what happened afterwards.
The match was fine. Like, it suffers from the thing that all Roman matches suffer from. Nobody thought Roman Reigns was going to lose. So that's essentially what I thought of the match. good match. Riddle put up a good fight. Should have been on pay-per-view, but I understand why it wasn't. And, Roman won.
Yeah, I forgot about this as well because again, there's just been so much going on. Yes, the stipulation was that with Riddle, if Riddle did not win, if Riddle lost, he would never again be able to challenge Roman Reigns for the title. He lost, so Riddle will never again be able to challenge, which is good.
Fine.
Which is fine in the sense of because I was just saying, I didn't buy for a second that he would beat Roman, and I don't see myself changing that anytime soon. I don't see him as that guy. Sorry. It's not great in the sense of they already have a very limited supply of even remotely credible contenders, even just talking about people they've built up enough to challenge Roman convincingly. So now by removing Riddle from that, it's now you're lessening that even more. And that's just she thought part of the reason that she thought Riddle would, or at least Roman would lose, because if Riddle won, then you wouldn't have that problem. Part of that, I'm reading that now, it's maybe they could have done a DQ or something to kind of maybe avoid that. No, just a clean pinfall. Riddle lost.
Clean pinfall.
He will not again challenge Roman Reigns. I like to get this comment from DJ because they planted the seed during the show where Riddle played Randy Orton's theme song is kind of like a tribute to him, as as Sami Zayn played Roman's theme song a couple weeks ago for the Usos. So and DJ said he thought that that Sami might play Randy's theme as kind of like a callback to that. That would have been cool, that they kind of set that up, but they didn't do that. Again, just straightforward pinfall. Yeah, it's just weird. That's points out I didn't even notice. I didn't notice this either. I was a little crazy stuff going on. That says the Usos not coming out with Roman was odd. I mean, maybe we have an honorable tribal chief. Maybe he just wanted to actually defend the title himself, which he did. And then the Usos were there after the match. And let's talk about that, Robert, because something crazy happened after the match. Roman said there's nobody left. He's wrecked everyone, as he said he would. 2 years ago, he said, I'm going to wreck everyone and leave. That's what he did. He said, I wrecked everyone. Now I'm going to leave again. And he asked the crowd to acknowledge him, and he starts walking to the back. And whose music should play but Brock Lesnar? Brock Lesnar comes to the ring, and he F5s Roman Reigns. So we're going to get Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns again.
Well, first of all, I think they had to give you a reason to watch SummerSlam. And that's your reason. Brock, Roman, last man standing. Credit to them. They haven't done that yet. So
they haven't done a last man standing match yet. All right, cool. No, it wasn't expected. Okay, I'll give them that. Did I see it coming? No, and to a T, I should have, right? I saw a plain tweet saying Brock is their resident break glass in case of emergency guy now. It's like anytime you have an emergency, whether it's creative, and admittedly, part of it might be, hey, Vince McMahon's under fire. Let's bring Brock Lesnar back to kind of take some of the tension off of that.
Right, that'll take some of the edge off Vince. I agree.
Maybe that was part of it. So Brock comes out for the first time since WrestleMania when he lost to Roman Reigns. F5's Roman Reigns in front of his home state, at least. I think Brock is originally from Minnesota. He went to University of Minnesota, at least. So he's definitely got.
Well, no, he's definitely from Minneapolis.
So that makes sense. F5s him, show ends, and then right after the show, they announced that Brock Lesnar will be facing Roman at SummerSlam in a Hell in a Cell match. Nope. I am so frazzled. There's so much crap going on.
Colin, even though you're jumping the gun a little bit, they haven't done a Hell in a Cell match,
and they probably will because they won't let this thing go.
Crown Jewel.
Oh my gosh. Oh, so now they're going to do the SummerSlam. It will be last man standing, as DJ points out. I think as Shock Attack points out, Brock was originally scheduled, or at least going to show up at Money in the Bank. Now they're even more depleted, so they needed something to kind of get the juices flowing, to get people excited. This is what they did. And I don't blame them, okay? I get it. They don't have anybody else now. And admittedly, that's their fault, and it sucks. Brock Lesnar came out, I literally said SMH, shaking my head, it's a big match, all right? I get that. And exactly, Nesha, I was just going to say it. How many Brock versus Roman matches do we need to have? We've seen this so much.
AJ Styles, Finn Balor. I'm just going to name some names here. Bobby Lashley. Hell. I can't even say Cena because that's the last thing Cena did. But you know,
I would have preferred that. At least that's like less treaded path of like you could like circle back and be like, you know, there's something there. Benjamin Jones, yeah, they don't have Cody now. Cody's out, so that's a big loss. They're gonna do Drew versus Roman, you know that. Like there's no doubt about that. That's Drew has said multiple times he's gonna challenge Roman to Clash with the Castle.
you know what? You know what's a fun story though, and I'll tell you right now, this is where they're gonna go with it. Rollins is gonna win Money in the Bank, I think. But Rollins can easily get in the head of both Roman and Brock by saying, "Hey, what happened last time I had Money in the Bank and you guys fought? I won." At least that's a fun story that I look forward to seeing.
That would be fun. That'd be better than this. Because just give me another singles thing with them. I'm sorry. I am a big fan of Roman Reigns. Brock Lesnar is great. I don't need to see it again. We got to WrestleMania. That felt like wipe our hands clean. It's done. Unified titles. Biggest match they could have. Like, why? If you think about it from a story, like, yeah, Brock wants his title back, but like, just why? Oh man! And again, there are other matches they could have.
Why not?
Why not? Okay, yeah, I know. Okay, I know it's big match. I know that it like inherently has that.
Look, I agree with you. I told you, you know, this is the best they could do. Like, it's crazy.
And like, I understand some of the other matches aren't as big. I mean, I think Bobby versus Roman would be really, really cool. I don't know why they avoid to do that. That feels like a pretty big match they could do. Is Bobby Lashley at that level? Not necessarily, but that's still a really cool match.
I think it sucks that level has to be
Brock, this major star that nobody else can even come close to because they've done it to themselves. They've done it to themselves, and
now Roman's become this guy that, well, if I'm not fighting Brock, I'm not here. What is that? It sucks.
Not good. That's what that is. And that just says titles won't stay unified for long. Told us that months ago. I mean, I do see a path forward where Brock wins the SummerSlam and then Roman would hold on to the Universal title and then he faces Drew at Clash of the Castle. I don't know how they would set that up logically.
What if they did a three-way?
Okay.
What if Brock wins?
Better. What if Brock wins?
I mean, Brock wins and they did a three-way with Drew. Who's the last guy to beat? You know, I mean, Brock never got his win on Drew.
It's true. I like that. Again, I mean, we are getting this SummerSlam, so ideally, like, if they do something else after that, if it's a triple threat something, I just like doesn't.
Theoretically, Rollins or whoever wins Money in the Bank could be sitting there with Money in the Bank. There's options. It just sucks that it's Brock and Roman again.
Yeah, just the sheer level of apathy that I felt when Brock was a kid. I was like, of course it's Brock. Just like. Again, I didn't even see it coming. That's the sad thing. I was like, I should have. I was like, again, because everything else is going on, I was like, yeah, of course. How could I have missed that one? But it's coming. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, SummerSlam.
If I'm them, I don't blame them.
No, I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying it's indicative of all the problems that we've been talking about.
Yes,
for ages now. Jeez, Suck Attack saying it should be called Hush Money in the Bank. Oh no, what a time. And yeah, now to put a cap on it, that says not that the match won't be good, but we don't need it. We don't need it. They feel the need to do it, and that's on them because that's just where things are at this point. I don't want to keep laboring the point, but hopefully they can make the story interesting. I don't know what other stories there is to tell at this point because they already kind of were stretching it for the WrestleMania match. So I'm not all that optimistic about this round of it. But who knows? Maybe it'll be interesting. Something that wasn't exactly interesting, Robert, was the last laugh match between Madcap Moss and Happy
we found out what that meant.
Okay, yeah. At first, it was a standard match, nothing too crazy about it, and then there was an interesting post-match punishment ? So yet another match between Madcap and Happy Corbin here. They've been feuding for quite a while now. Madcap, I think he won at WrestleMania Backlash and Hell in a Cell. So I think he was 2-1. I think Corbin beat him by DQ once. But in big matches like this, I would say he went 3-0 tonight. He beat Corbin again, pinned him, no fans or butts. And after the match, yes, we had the meaning of the last laugh match because Madcap Moss went to the outside, grabbed a mic, And he proceeded to laugh and laugh and laugh. And that wasn't all, because I think then they had a commercial break. Then we come back, and Happy Corbin is at the broadcast table, and he's tearing into Pat McAfee, and he's like, "You're the one that called me broke-ass bum-ass Corbin. You make fun of me all the time. And if you don't stop, I'm going to beat you up. And whatever. And I'll make you wish you were dead." something like that. And then Pat McAfee stands up, and he's like, I don't even remember all what he said, but he asked the crowd to lead him and a laughing Happy Corbin out of Minneapolis.
I'm all for Corbin versus McAfee. I'm sorry.
I'm for that. I wasn't for this. I'm for that match. I think that could be a fun story. But this, just like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Like, what? It just seems silly to me. And it's silly because I was laughing, obviously. But I just mean, like, I was already in a bad mood because the Vince thing and all this other stuff. And out of this, I was like, okay, all right. If they do this feud, it could be good. Corbin is criminally underrated. Pat McAfee has been very entertaining in everything he's done. So I definitely give him credit for that. And he's been impressive in the match that he's had. So the combination of the two, I would be optimistic about that. Do you think this is a Money in the Bank match or a SummerSlam match? Do you think it's
SummerSlam?
SummerSlam. Why did they go into SummerSlam prep mode tonight? I'm a fan of long-term
because SummerSlam for the first time ever, Colin, is in July.
I know it's in July, but we've got what, 1, 2, 3.
They're skipping right past Money in the Bank, and they're saying the ladder matches sell themselves as it's happening.
Yeah, which is true, honestly. Like they're seems like they're not going to have Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank. And they're already building up for him and Brock at SummerSlam. They've already confirmed that. But I matches do themselves. Like when I watch Money in the Bank, like by and large, unless it's 2011 with CM Punk and John Cena, like I watch Money in the Bank for the ladder matches, and I imagine that's probably a fairly common perspective because like that's the name of the game. It's the point of the show. And sometimes we'll have cool matches otherwise, but like that's kind of the point. Unlike Hell in a Cell, like those matches actually mean something. It's like whoever wins gets that briefcase, and it's substantial. So
for a moment there, they were even promoting that they would go straight to the main event of WrestleMania.
Thankfully, they've backtracked on that, but still a very fun show. So I want to give Money in the Bank its due. Like I enjoy Money in the Bank. Hey, good segue. We had one qualifying match tonight. One qualifying clarification because last week, starting there, we had Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus, and they ended in a double DQ draw, and it was unclear who had qualified. Tonight, Adam Pearce called him out to the ring, and Sheamus pointed out that, hey, Drew McIntyre, you've been cashed in on. I've actually cashed in. I've won Money in the Bank and cashed in successfully. If you win, you'll fail to cash in. But he said, I'm successful. I'm gonna do great if I get it. Adam Pearce says that Sheamus is in the match. And McIntyre got mad and beat him up. And Adam Pearce said, no, Drew, you're in it too. So Sheamus and Drew McIntyre now join Seth Rollins as
right now. Men. That's a hell of a lineup.
It's a good lineup.
That's a hell of a 3 people. Maybe 3 of the best you got. If you can take, who would your other 4 be if you had to guess right now?
Ricochet, only because he does great stuff in high flying matches.
Somebody has to flip. I agree.
Man. Kevin Owens? Yeah, Kevin Owens. And Ezekiel. Give me Kevin Owens and Ezekiel. I think that would make sense.
Yeah, I think Ezekiel hurts it. I think if I'm booking the match, it's Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens.
Okay, forgot about that.
It's Sami Zayn, it's Kevin Owens. And honestly, I say Theory and Lashley.
Okay.
Don't even put them in. That's a main event level ladder match. You have Theory for the future. You have Sami Zayn, KO. You've got 3 former world champions. Right now, on June 17th, I'm thinking Becky and Seth win both briefcases.
I like it.
And I think that's how they go moving forward.
Yeah, Nesha predicts that Lacey will win and Seth will win. Right now, we know that we'll talk about the women's side in a minute, but it will be Lacey. So far, Lacey, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, and Raquel Rodriguez. We'll have another qualifying match next week as well. The men's side is a little more open at this point. Only 3 of.
What's the qualifying match next week?
Shotzi versus Aaliyah. So not exactly strong contender in that case, unfortunately.
Shotzi, because she'll jump.
Yeah.
Like,
Why not?
I would add Asuka and Becky and leave it at that.
But unless they do the draw again, they have Asuka versus Becky on Monday in a qualifying match. So I don't know how they're going to kind of work about that. I think both should be in the match. They've already kind of booked themselves into yet another corner here. Because if one of them has to miss it, like the other one should. I think they both should be in it. DJ says that Raquel and Ezekiel for the win. I don't know about that. Raquel is a dark horse, maybe. I don't know about Ezekiel. Like, Elias is coming back on Monday. Elias is coming back. We don't even know if Ezekiel's going to stick around.
Okay, what do you think? What do you think that Joss Whedon CGI beard is going to be, pal?
I don't know. John and I are talking about on Monday. I have no idea what they're going to pull. I don't know. The bar is low, and I'm worried they're going to fall short of that. Like, I hope it's not CGI. That's going to look really, really weird because I don't think they have that kind of technology to pull that off. But I don't know. I like Money in the Bank. I think it'll be fun. So far the lineups are good. I like the idea of Seth winning, as we talked about earlier. That'd be really cool. They've got that story there. I would hope Kevin Owens gets in there. I think he'd be another good choice as well. But yeah, I don't know. On the women's side, it's more open. I'm rooting for Alexa Bliss. Big fan of hers. I hope to see her get but pushed back into the title scene. Liv Morgan, possible. She's been obviously pushed pretty heavily here. Lacey Evans, maybe. Robert, I think you and I were talking about this last week, whenever we last spoke, that she had qualified, and it's July 4th weekend, so that makes a lot of sense. Knowing WWE, we do still have again, I guess, 2 weeks to fill out the lineups in both cases. So yeah, I think Steph seems like a pretty good favorite in the early going here, and yeah, the women's side of things does feel a little more open. I'm just going to bring it up because it pisses me off so much. We had the New Day versus Jinder Mahal and Dancing Shanky.
Dancing Shanky.
And I only bring it up because Dancing Shanky just aggravates me on a profound level. And I don't know why. It's just it's so dumb, man. They do this all the time. Great Khali, Brodus Clay, all these examples of just comedic big guys. And it never it works in the sense people dance along and okay.
Who doesn't want to see a giant man dance?
Me. Me. I don't like it.
I don't like entertainment, pal?
I like wrestling. That's what I like. Yeah. But, New Day won. They laughed more at Happy Corbin before the match.
Cool.
I respect it. If you like the dancing, more power to you. Obviously, we're always perfectly entitled to disagree on everything, and that's fine. If you're liking the dancing, dance along. That's great. I'm just saying.
Dance away.
Yeah. Cool. I'm just
saying.
He
gave you a reason.
I guess I was more aggravated because, again, the Vince McMahon thing tonight. This was before the Brock thing, so I wasn't even upset about that yet. But it's been a long week, folks. All right, I'll leave it at that. Shanky dancing was put me over the edge, I guess. But we had Raquel Gonzalez qualified by beating Shayna Baszler. Fairly good match. Shayna deserves better. Raquel smiles too much, but clearly that's what she's doing.
That's character development, pal. You're smiling.
Yeah. Good for her. She's doing great on SmackDown. I'm glad that she's being featured. I was a big fan of her on NXT. I like the NXT version of her better, but nonetheless, it feels inevitable that you have, different versions of the same people at when they get called up. And that's just, you can't believe that Shayna lost. I mean, this felt pretty cut and dry that Raquel's been pushed a lot, especially right on SmackDown. And again, I think, again, as a dark horse contender, she could win. My money's on someone like Alexa or the winner of Becky versus Asuka. I think that would make a lot of sense. That's a dark horse, let's establish a new person potentially. I could see Raquel being that person. But
Bliss, Lacey, or Becky, and I really like the chances of Becky and Seth holding both.
Yeah,
briefcases.
They're pretty cool. DJ says that Shayna should be where Natalya is right now. I think she is kind of.
I think that's a
way.
SummerSlam match.
Shayna versus what?
Yeah.
The versus Natalya?
Oh, versus Shayna versus
Ronda.
Natalya. Absolutely. That's the match.
Shayna versus Ronda?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. That makes sense. They're obviously they're friends. They've got the MMA / UFC kind of background. I just think they need to kind of, in that case, do a lot of work to build Shayna up because she has not been booked very well, just kind of on a regular basis. Even she was a 2-time, I believe, women's tag team champion. Not exactly, the best mark of success, but as a single star, especially, not pushed very well. DJ specifically meant that she should literally be in a title match at Money in the Bank. I agree, but I see the value of having Natalya there, established veteran, and then whatever they want to do for SummerSlam. I think if we talk about somewhat needless rematches, I feel pretty safe in saying it seems very possible we're going to get Ronda versus Charlotte again at SummerSlam, because that's the same kind of thing. Brock and Roman, Charlotte versus Ronda, big star.
Imagine if they just run Mania back. That'd be.
Didn't they kind of do that at like SummerSlam? Not last. Like there was one of the big shows last year. I think they did a lot of rematches from WrestleMania. I feel like it was SummerSlam or something. But they do that. They've done that. They'll just run it back because it's a big show and they only have so many big stars. And they can build up some story for a rematch. They'll do it. But that'd be funny in the sense of funny in a sad sense if they ran back the WrestleMania card, essentially the big matches, like the main event matches for SummerSlam. I don't necessarily think Charlotte's going to be Money in the Bank. I think it's possible. I'm more hopeful that Bayley would return for a mystery spot or something. I would probably expect Charlotte. I mean, she could come back anytime now. Andrade is already back in AEW, so you would expect that she could come back at some point soon as well, obviously. But no, I don't think they'll put her in Money in the Bank. At least I hope not, because like it feels they could this easily, if they want to, give her that rematch. Not that I'm advocating for it. Natalya had a promo tonight, speaking of the title match there, where she was again saying that she wants to make Ronda Rousey tap. Very, very similar to Charlotte's feud with Ronda for SummerSlam, for WrestleMania and WrestleMania Backlash. All right. I mean, at least, again, they both have submissions, make sense. But I'm sure the match will be fine. Again, one of those matches where there's no chance in hell that, in this case, Ronda's going to lose. But it's fine. We had an announced segment tonight that I was curious about, and that wound up just being kicked down the road because Max Dupree was gonna reveal his first male model, and instead he was dissatisfied with the presentation, and he was talking about he said some weird stuff. I forgot exactly what he was talking about, like gyrating or like something. It was something like get some juices flowing or something. Like he was.
Yeah, well, you gotta, when you've got models, they've got to get their juices flowing. You can't just strut them around with no build. They're models.
Fair
what
enough.
do you think it's gonna be?
I was talking about this on the NXT show, and I was really hoping. In hindsight, I really wish they debuted Giovanni Vinci sooner. Vinny, whatever.
Vinci.
All right. I wish they debuted him sooner because he feels like ready-made, meant for that part of like model, stylish, wealth, and all the things that Max Dupree has been kind of talking about. He said he was in Europe last week, so that like planted that seed. Some people are thinking Cesaro.
Yeah, I think. Look, they showed face. Well, they didn't show face, but there's a dark segment where it was Mace, but now he's face.
Right.
And I think that's great. But I also think Pretty Deadly would be really cool. Los Starios, if not Pretty Deadly.
Yeah.
It's got to fit the gimmick.
Right. And speaking of the gimmick, Nestor says Giovanni Vinci would be a good fit, or would have been a good fit. Again, I don't necessarily think they're going to call him up like next week because he just arrived in NXT. So maybe if this winds up being a sustained thing, maybe at some point she agrees about a Pretty Deadly potentially being a good fit as well. I hope it's someone like established. If it's face / Mace, like not that's not,
He deserves the push, though.
He does, but like I would rather it's in theory it's a lineup of models, right? So I hope like the first model is like kind of an established name that we can get excited about, and then you bring in like Facer / Mace. He managed Mansoor at another dark match or something. Could do pretty deadly. They have options. Any number of model like superstars there. They have like similar kind of gimmick they could do. I don't know. Again, I'm seeing such a clear line there with Giovanni Vinci. Was like, it makes so much sense if they can make this last. That'd be very, very good, because like there's definitely something there. Now this does bring back Tyler Breeze. He would have been a good fit for it. Prince Pretty and all that good stuff. Fortunately, he's not with the company right now.
It's a good way to bring him back if they choose to.
Could be, and he's very, very talented. I mean, obviously, I'd be happy to see that. I enjoyed his work with WWE, but regardless, we did not find out who the model is this week. We're gonna have to wait and see. Do you think this is a sign they don't know what they're doing, or do you think they're intentionally delaying it, or both?
I think they're intentionally delaying it. I think they know what they're doing. I think Mace is too much of a dud, and I think they want it to feel like a big deal. And you wait. You know what I mean? You wait to make it a big deal.
Yeah, but then to that point, I say like I worry that they're setting themselves up to like underdeliver, because if it winds up being Face or Mace or somebody, again, not to knock on them, but like that's not this big deal. Because if you're like, oh, who could it be, and then it winds up being, again, someone maybe a little less of a big deal. It might be a little underwhelming. Nesha and DJ both asked, do we think it'll be all males or females? Well, it's the maximum male models. So unless maybe
I think it has to be all males. I'm surprised they didn't try to change it to maximum models or to the maximum modeling agency or whatever.
Maybe maximum male models will be so successful they'll expand. We have this booming business, and they'll have some kind of spin-off thing of like the male.
It's a shame they're not divas anymore. Otherwise, Dupree's divas would have hit the alliteration.
Oh boy. I mean, Shock Attack like this, based on what we saw Monday night with the pose off, because you had Bobby Lashley and Theory in it, because they were posing and flexing, and Theory was squirting baby oil and stuff. So, but yeah, this is at least for now, it seems to be a SmackDown kind of thing. Not that they're going to keep us guessing that they will, so wait and see. Otherwise, here, other than the main event, we just have one more thing to point out, that we will have a rematch for the Intercontinental title next week. Gunther versus Ricochet. Ludwig Kaiser, in a promo, said that an American will never again hold the IC title, and that Ricochet kind of devalued the title when he held it. But now it's back where it belongs, to someone who's great, the great Austrian ring general, whatever, of Gunther. So
Cody versus Gunther would be quite the match.
Do you think they're building up to that down the road?
No, because I think at this point Cody will be back to win the Rumble, and that's it. But when you hear an American will never again, you just think, send Cody.
We've all been thinking they're going to do they're going to do John Cena versus Theory, but in reality, they're going to do Gunther versus John Cena. There you have your American hero story.
No. Don't laugh. That's an idea. John Cena's never been the Intercontinental Champion.
Real? Wow, that's wild. No, they gotta do Cena versus Theory. Like
they do, but do they have to do it at SummerSlam?
Yes, because as we talked about, you can never assume that it'll work out where you can do something down the road. Injuries, John Cena's film schedule, whoever even knows, things happen. People don't get over, or the pushes don't work, or who even knows? Not Gunther's great, but like things could always go sideways. So that's the match. Okay, every single interview Theory has done, even before like this past month, where they've heavily been leading into it. A year ago, Theory was doing interviews, was talking about John Cena's influence and how he was the reason he became a wrestler. He literally modeled his life around John Cena when he was a kid. That is such a ready-made story that kind of you don't get all that often, that they really can't screw up. I hope that's the story. In theory,
you can always screw up.
Oh yeah. But in theory, you could circle back and do Gunther versus Cena or whatever else down the road. Because again, if Cena comes back for WrestleMania next year, who even knows, or next SummerSlam, who knows, right? To me, that's the story. Like, that is, gotta do that. What I like to see, I like the idea of Gunther Cena as well. That's another fun story. Do I want to see John Cena squash Gunther's kind of wave of momentum? Not necessarily. And do I think they would necessarily have Gunther beat John Cena? Maybe not. But I don't know. I think both would be good. But regardless, Gunther versus Ricochet again next week. That's going to be good as well. I'm hopeful that Gunther will do good things for the IC title. I'm also hopeful and looking forward to the return of John Cena. Boy, Robert, remember the name commercial they have?
Yeah, that gets you hyped every time.
That goes so hard, okay? Like, that gets me. I'm like, oh, man, it's time. John Cena is coming back, folks, okay? I don't even care, okay? I kind of wish, it sounds bad, I kind of wish the timing worked out where this happened this week and John Cena's coming back this Monday, because in WWE's darkest hour, who should return but John Cena?
I really think that they should try to get him for a few more months. Not just for SummerSlam or whatever.
Hey, I would like to see it. I think that'd be beneficial at a time where you potentially don't have Randy Orton with a surgery. Cody Rhodes will be out for the next several months. And they felt short-staffed enough to bring in Brock Lesnar again. It's pretty telling that they could benefit from having John Cena around more. But he is a very busy man. He is doing great things over in the world of Hollywood. So even if it's just for SummerSlam, I will be very happy with that. I will be happy just to have John Cena around whenever I can get it. So I'm looking forward to that, because it's just even if it's temporary, it's a surge of nostalgia and just John Cena goodness. So,
and good things are good. Good
things are good. SmackDown tonight, maybe not so good. Robert, what do you think about the show all in all? Lots to digest.
The show itself was like a 6, but
Wow.
The rest of the newsworthiness of it is like, 9. Like, this has been one of the. I'm curious about the rating number. Like, that's gonna be a high number.
I think it's gonna be it'll be a high number. It's just interesting that in the Vince thing, they had the title match, they had those 2 big hooks for it, and otherwise not a whole lot to really hang their hat on, I guess. But I do expect it'll be a good number. Because inherently they had the announcement Mr. McMahon will appear. Everyone wants to know what he's going to say. Sure, they haven't delivered, but they had the hook of what's he going to say? And maybe the rating will be affected because after he appeared, maybe some people tuned out. But I'm still imagining that'll be a fairly good burst for the viewership. So that will be very interesting to see how that unfolds. But before the show, Shaq got a 6.5, National with a 7. I would go for a 6.3. Trying to be fair. The title match was good. I never once doubted the outcome, but it was a good match. For inherent intrigue, I was interested to hear what Vince McMahon would say. It under-delivered, but they had me interested. For the first time in a week, SmackDown was a must-see show. They didn't
not for anything related to storyline though.
No, but you had to tune in to see what was going to happen, and they haven't had that to say for a couple weeks now, especially with Rowan being out. So at least they had that going for him, and for me, that helps. So at least I felt more interested, at least at the start. And like I said, I got grumpy because I wasn't what I wanted to be, but at least they had that. DJ with a 9. So as always, I respect it. If you really like the show, and none of us do, that is totally cool. Yeah, wrestling is subjective, if nothing else. So, you're always entitled to feel differently or to enjoy something that we don't, or vice versa. Nev says she has not missed Roman. Nesha, Roman, I understand that the reign has been pretty stale for a while now, but goodness, Roman, at the very least, it has that magnitude. So when he's on, it feels more important. Is it always interesting? Not necessarily, but it feels more substantial. And when it inherently feels lesser of a show when he's not on. When he's not on week after week after week, to me that's not great. And to me that's why Raw. Admittedly, I don't even like Raw, but it has been a better show on its own, and I would say a better show than SmackDown overall lately. So, thankfully Roman is back for now. Might not see him again until SummerSlam. Who even knows? But it was good to have him back for now. Again, it continues to be such a crazy time. as things continue to unfold. We will have more coverage as it becomes available, whether it's on Sasha Banks, Vince McMahon, and other things. Obviously, we have Money in the Bank coming up. We have Impact's anniversary this week. I'll be covering that on Sunday. We have AEW New Japan Forbidden Door the week after that. And the week after that is Money in the Bank. And then we have SummerSlam just a couple weeks after that. It's a very busy time, very fun time, even on top of all this craziness outside of that. But rather, that's the wrestling world. It never stops. They're always spinning.
That's correct. It never stops. And follow me everywhere at DeFelice. Follow Fightful, please. We've talked a lot about Sean Ross Sapp and the good stuff he breaks. So follow Fightful. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/DeFelice. And we'll see you next week.
Indeed. Thanks for listening, everybody.